I remember we used to have small orange bullets. There was slide out house there. The man comes back here, his pepper spray in his pocket. And I thought, wow, that's cool. Boots shine. I wanted to follow up all his footsteps. I did pretty well with that except for the boots. I never got shine boots now. Many times Mac or Jeff would say, shine. I wanted to help people when I wanted to get the bad guys. I always used to make fun of people who I call whackers, but there was no bigger whacker than me. I used to play in my dad's police cruiser when he brought it home. I would play with the red light, the sirens. And once, I even played with this pepper spray to spray myself. Christmas Eve, Dad coming home with a black and blue eye. Found out Dad was in a fight. I'm thinking, horrible stuff. I get to fight. 20 years later, I was my father. And I say that with the utmost pride.
Until the viewing, I saw all that stuff hanging up, and I remember my boyfriend pointed something out to me, and it was Kevin Lewis Day in Franklin, and I just thought that was like fantastic. And I guess I didn't realize how big of an impact he had on the police realm until that day, which I know I told my boyfriend, I said, I kind of wish I would have known that prior, just because, you know, it would have been really cool to share, like, oh, wow, that's awesome with him, rather than, you know, find out about it after the fact.
Kevin's loyalty is not only to the community of Franklin, it has been to his family. We may not see Kevin for a few months at a time, but I can tell you, I could call Kevin at 2, 3 in the morning and say, I need you down here right now at 2 in the morning. He will not ask me what's wrong, what's going on, nothing. He will say, where do you want to meet me? And he will be there. Kevin,
on the job, he was very fun to work with, very personable, but he took his job very serious also. And a lot of people respected that he was a very normal type of person. He's a police officer you could go up to, anybody could talk to him, he could relate to everyone, but yet when it came time to do the job as a police officer, he was very good at it. And people respected him. The people he arrested respected him and would often comment years later that they always knew where they stood with him, and they thought that was always fair. They always knew that they'd be treated well with him.
He's a lot like how you are. Like he was always very strong, and it's hard to, he's a guy, like he's a strong man.
The year that he was trying to park his truck in his garage and with the plow on the front of his truck and came in too fast, slid on the ice, went right out the back of the garage. Trying to cut the tree limb down and had the ladder on the wrong side of the limb. There was quite a few of them, but a lot of that was him trying to hurry up and get the job done, but not always thinking it through well.
Now therefore be it proclaimed that the 4th day of May, 2013, shall be known as Kevin J. Lewis Day in the city of Franklin.
Kevin was truly one of my best friends from the time we both got hired. Spent a lot of time together, both professionally and personally. We would hunt together, we would go on the river together, boating together. I mean, we really spent a lot of our lives together, and we both had kids, and they spent a lot of their lives together.
We didn't call him Captain Chaos for nothing. It always seemed like he could take a small incident and make it big. It's just the way it always worked. He'd get wound up and away he'd go. He'd turn it into something. And 9 times out of 10, he was right. You know, there would always be something tiny, but by the time he got done with it, holy smokes, you got 5 people back at the station under arrest. And it was the same way with Applefest. He was excellent at organizing it. He was excellent at working with the people to get things done on such, you know, a small amount of manpower to deal with 30,000 people in this little bitty park. And he's given 4 police officers and 10 or 12 constables or fire police to help direct traffic. And that's extremely difficult to do. Yeah, he'd be wound up. Yes, he'd be stressed. He'd have his nails chewed right down to the nub, fingers bleeding because he'd chewing them down so far. But everything always worked out. Every time. He could always fix problems on the fly. Things would pop up. He'd have the answers like that. Let's do this. Let's take this person, move them there. No, we can't park that here. We got to get it over here. He always had the answers right away.
One time I got a brand new cruiser. For once I was going to use it for me to drive. And I was going to have no problem with it. I only had about 10, 15 miles on it. Kevin says, can I drive it? I said, Kevin, let's see. You just had a new cruiser you smashed up and the lady drove it back to you. You've been dropping the guns. You drove over top of your radio. You've done all these neat things. And I said, this is really great. If I can find something I can put in your hands and it don't break, I'll buy it for us. Kevin said, oh, come on, let me drive the cruiser. I said, Kevin, no. I said, where are you going? I'm running for Cheryl down to get some Stanton. Nah, I don't think. He said, come on, let me ride with you. I said, all right. I made her just put my key in ignition. He only goes, button the car, and he goes, oh, shit. I said, what? And the whole, you know, where your seatbelt hooks up to the bar border, it's all broken, sticking in his hand.
Justin, my boyfriend, hit one of his family reunions, and it was at Idlewild. So it was right as I was pulling into Idlewild. My mom called me, or well, she texted me and said, can I call you? And she called me, and she told me, and at first, like, it was kind of one of those things where you're like, okay, and what? It's kind of, once it set in that this was a final thing, I still thought, well, we have a year. We have another Christmas.
My first reaction was just stunned. It was actually our ambulance was taking him to Erie. The crew called me to let me know because they knew I'd been a friend of Kevin's for so long. And even though we'd been good friends for a long time, we hadn't been that close for the past couple years. And I could sense the emotion in the crew when they called me, and even through the phone, I hurt for the crew because everybody knew Kevin at work, and I was just stunned and shocked. And as it went on, how quickly things progressed. I did get the opportunity while he was in the hospital to go see him one last time.
He said tonight was that Kevin was involved in EMS training and was really instrumental in helping us really move the EMS system in this county forward. He helped us do training in this county for years, and when you look at the number of lives he's affected, the number of people he's trained and put out there, Kevin, you've made a difference in that, helped a lot of people's lives, and we're very proud of you.
So every time, you know, my nephew, he's about 3 months old now, but every time we're like, oh, another month with him, we realize it's another month without Uncle Kevin. So that's kind of tough.
Last but absolutely without any question whatsoever, my family, my dad, Beth, my sisters, Andy. I know at times I'm evasive, I don't communicate, I don't come around for weeks and months at a time, but I also know you guys are there. I also know you got my back.